Have you ever just stopped and looked at the device in your hand and wondered, how did this thing become the center of, well, everything? It's kind of wild when you think about it. From the entire global economy, right down to your online shopping cart, there's been this series of powerful tech trends that totally reshaped our world. Okay, let's jump in and connect the dots.
It really all boils down to this one central question. How on earth did technology become the absolute engine of our modern world? And to get to the answer, you've got to start by looking at how it first transformed business.
And that, right there, brings us to our first big idea, technology as the ultimate competitiveness engine. This is really where the whole revolution kicked off, not with some single flashy invention, but with a brand new way of handling information.
We're talking about information and communication technology, or ICT for short. Now, this isn't just one thing. Think of it as the entire toolbox that lets a company, or hey, even an entire country, collect, process, and share information. In today's world, if you're not using these tools, you're just not in the game. You simply can't compete.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. For 100 years, when we talked about technology, we meant making factories more productive, building more stuff faster. But ICT flipped the script. It brought that same revolutionary power to the service industry. We're talking finance, healthcare, retail, you name it. ICT is like the new factory machinery, and it's unlocking these huge efficiency gains in what is now the biggest part of our economy.
So this non-stop drive for a technological edge in business started this incredible ripple effect. Let's move on, because this is where it starts to get personal. It began to fundamentally change the devices that you and I use every single day.
It's actually kind of hard to remember, but there was a time when all our needs were handled by completely different boxes, right? You had one thing for talking to people, a different one for news and shows, and a whole other machine for crunching numbers. They all lived in totally separate worlds.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It shows you just how specialized everything used to be. The telephone, just for communication. Radio and TV, purely entertainment. And the personal computer, which was born digital, was for information. Each one was a massive invention on its own, but they all stayed in their own lane.
So how did all those different things merge into the one super device we carry around today? Well, it took two major breakthroughs. First, you've got Moore's Law, which famously predicted that computing power would just keep doubling, like clockwork. Then you have a manufacturing miracle called Very Large-Scale Integration, or VLSI. That's the tech that actually let us physically cram all that power onto impossibly tiny microchips. The result of those two things? Convergence. All those separate jobs, information, communication, entertainment, they all got fused into a single device.
And once that powerful connected device was in basically everyone's pocket, the next ripple was just bound to happen. It completely blew up the way we buy and sell, well, everything.
And this is the absolute key. The fact that everybody suddenly had a smartphone created the perfect storm for e-commerce to just explode. All of a sudden, the store wasn't on Main Street anymore. It was in the palm of your hand, open 24/7.
Which leads to something we've all experienced, right? How is it that these online stores seem to know exactly what you're looking for, sometimes before you even do? The answer, in one word, is personalization.
Site personalization is the secret sauce. It's the engine that makes your online experience feel like it was built just for you. By looking at who you are, and way more importantly, what you do, websites can serve up content that's just incredibly relevant.
Okay, so how do they pull it off? It's basically a three-step dance. First, special tools watch your clickstream. Think of it like a trail of digital breadcrumbs. What pages you look at, what you click on. Next, something called collaborative filtering takes your breadcrumb trail and compares it to millions of others to find patterns. That's the magic behind those people who bought this also bought recommendations. And finally, there are simple rules-based systems. That's the no-brainer stuff, like, hey, this person's in France, let's show them the site in French.
But all of this incredible personalization creates a brand new and frankly massive challenge. With all of our data being collected and used like this, how can we ever really trust the system?
This quote here just nails the problem perfectly. It's the core dilemma of our digital world, the need for data versus the need for trust. For decades, we've just had to rely on big companies to be the trustworthy middleman. But a new technology is proposing a completely different way forward. And that tech is blockchain. The easiest way to think of it is as a digital record book that no single person or company owns. It's shared across a giant network of computers, and here's the genius part. Once something is written in that book, it's there forever. It can be shared and seen by everyone, but it can never, ever be changed.
So let's just quickly walk through this. A transaction gets started, then the whole network of computers has to agree that it's legit. Once they do, that transaction gets bundled up into a secure encrypted block. And then that block is permanently chained to all the blocks that came before it, creating this unbreakable, unchangeable history. It basically builds trust directly into the system, so you don't need a big bank or corporation to vouch for it.
And that brings us to our final and maybe the biggest ripple of all. All of this online activity, every purchase, every click, every message, has created an unbelievable tidal wave of data.
And I mean seriously, every single thing we do online creates another piece of data. The sheer amount of it is what we call big data. And with all this raw information just piling up, the next great challenge was pretty obvious. How do we make any sense of it?
The answer is machine learning. It's a type of AI where instead of giving a computer a list of rules to follow, we just feed it a mountain of data. We train its algorithms to find patterns, spot insights, and make predictions, all on its own. It's like the brain we're building to understand big data. And this learning process really happens on 4 different levels. Think of it like climbing a ladder. At the bottom, you have descriptive analytics, which just answers what happened. Like, our website views went up. Simple. Then you climb up to diagnostic analytics, which asks, okay, why did it happen? Oh, it was that new marketing campaign. Next up is predictive analytics, which tries to guess what's going to happen. Well, based on the trends, views will probably go up again in December. And then, at the very top of the ladder, is prescriptive analytics. This is the one that says, so what should we do about it? We should get more servers ready for December. You see how it moves from just looking at the past to actually helping shape the future?
So here's the bottom line. It's all connected. That economic engine of ICT, it led to the converged devices in all our pockets. Those devices fueled this personalized e-commerce world, and all the data from that world created a need for new ways to build trust, like blockchain, and new forms of intelligence, like machine learning, to make sense of it all. It's one big chain reaction.
And that leaves us with one last really important question to think about. We've built these incredible tools that can understand our world through data in ways we never even imagined. So as these tools get even smarter and even more predictive, the biggest trend of all is going to be the choices we have to make about how we use them.